Hi, I'm Noah with OHS TV Studio for a local legend spotlight with former teacher and coach Randy Crowe. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
All right. So, as mentioned, you were both a teacher and a coach. How did you get involved with that?
Well, whenever I left school, I had wanted to be a conservation agent. When I got into college, I found out that there was a lot of chemistry and math, which wasn't my strong point at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided I just kind of looked around and thought, what did I love to do whenever I was in high school? And I love sports. That's one of the things I think that made me keep my grades up, made me come to school every day, because I really enjoyed the sports part of it. And so I thought, well, I think I'm going to go back and I am going to try to get my teaching degree, and I'm going to try to coach. And it worked out really well for me. It's something that I had a real passion for. I love both the teaching and the coaching part of it. And so I feel really blessed to have been able to do that for as long as I did.
Yeah. What subjects did you teach?
Well, I started out teaching history, freshman history. Then I moved to PE at the high school, did that for about 10 or 12 years. And then I finished out in PE over at the middle school.
Nice. So, what are some of your favorite memories from being a teacher?
Well, I tell you what, I think it's just all the kids that I had. When you've been around as long as I have, to go out into the community and see how, the students that you had, what they're doing now and how they succeeded in life, just makes me feel good.
Yeah, I bet. So when you were a coach, what were some of your favorite things about coaching?
Well, I tell you what, I coached three sports. I coached football for 25 years. I coached track for 25 years. And I coached girls basketball for 15 years. And again, I think it's just the interaction with the student athlete and watching them grow, as we always have a plan at the beginning of each year. Mm-hmm. And watching that plan take effect as we go throughout the year. And it doesn't always mean that you win, but it does mean that the athletes grow, the teams get better, and we get closer as a team too, kind of the family part of it.
Yeah. So when you took the 2006 football team to the state finals, could you tell us a little bit about that run?
I tell you what, it was awesome. I think we went into our district 3-5, so nobody really expected us to come out of the district the winner, and we did. We had a really tough schedule that year, and we had some kids that had been injured early, and so really our record wasn't an indication of how good we were. And a lot of times it's about when you get into the playoffs, it's about timing, when you start playing your best. And that's what happened to us. Our best football started in the district, and it went all the way through to the championship game.
Yeah. So you also were involved with track. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I tell you what, track ended up being one of my passions. When I went to college, I went on a track scholarship. And it's something that, to me, track is such a laid-back sport. And the kids that are in it are truly special because they do things that a lot of other kids don't want to do. The running and that type of thing. And I love the camaraderie that our track athletes have with the other teams. Just the nature of track allows you to really interact with the other teams. And I just thought that was really awesome, especially after coming out of football and basketball. It was laid back for me as a coach because with track athletes, it's either, you work hard and you want to do it or you don't. And there's really not much that you can do. But, our kids always worked hard. They loved the sport. They loved each other. And the way that they got along with other teams, I just find that refreshing.
Yeah. A lot of track athletes end up coming from other sports too.
Yes.
Yeah. I see that a lot here now even.
Yes.
So you mentioned you went to college for track. What did you?
Well, I was a sprinter.
Sprinter?
Whenever I ran, we were still pole vaulting into hay. So it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I was a sprinter, and we didn't have cross country here. I had never heard of cross country. And so I was a 100, 200, 400 man here. Well, I went to Central Missouri State, and they decided they wanted me to run the 400. And I'm like, okay. So my first time I get up there, they said, well, we want you to come to our cross-country workouts in the fall of the year, and that's going to make you stronger in the spring. And I'm like, no, cross-country. It must be something for sprinters. Well, we get off the bus at a park and we run 10 miles, and I have never in my life been so sore. We spent 2 weeks up there running. We ended up 15 miles with maybe the longest that we ran. And my body, I'm telling you, I'd never felt anything like that. I ended up making the varsity cross country team up there my first year, and it made me so much stronger for the 400 in the spring. I ran times that I had never dreamed that I would be able to run in high school because of what they had made me go through with the cross country. So it was again, it goes back to my passion for track. I just kind of love, the way that it's an individual sport, and you get out of it what you put into it.
You definitely do that. So, you also mentioned that you're the starter for track and cross. How does that?
Well, I tell you what, I did that because once I retired, I got into coaching because I love kids and I love being around the other coaches, learning so much from them. And so whenever I retired, I was like, I don't want to get away from this. And actually, the school 5 years before that, because we were having trouble finding starters here, the school had said, look, if you go get your starter's license, we'll pay for it. And then if we can't find a starter, we have one on staff. And so whenever I retired, I already had my license. And it's something I've been doing now for, I think I'm in my 24th year. And I love it. It keeps me close to the kids. It keeps me close to the sport. And it keeps me close to the coaches.
Yeah. So what's your favorite thing about the community around here, the local community?
Well, I tell you what, I grew up here. I coached here all my life. I started out in Bland. My first 2 years of teaching was in Bland, and then I got a job offer here. And I always remembered my instructor in college always says, never go back home to teach or coach. It never works out. So I had decided that I had 2 years at Bland, and I got a little bit pay raise here. So I thought, well, I'll come here, but I'm not going to stay. I'm going to look outside of the district and try to find me a head coaching job, which I did. I looked in several spots. It just never worked out. But the longer that I stayed, the more that I fell in love with the district. I already knew the community, and I found it not to be true. Again, a lot of times they say, well, if you go home and coach, many times it doesn't work out. It worked out perfect for me, and I was here 25 years, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of local coaches who also grew up in Ozone now too. So
there is, yes, and being around these types of people and being able to learn from them, and again, some of them I taught, some of them I didn't, but all of them are very knowledgeable, and if you're going to grow as a coach, you always need to listen to what other coaches have to say. You find other avenues or other ways of doing things.
Yeah. Speaking of like the local area, what about family?
Well, I got two boys. I got Matt and Jason. They both went to school here, and I was very lucky. I got to coach both of them, and I think that's really special for a dad to be able to coach. His kids. And I got grandkids that are now in the district here, and I got grandkids that are in the school district in St. Louis, and they're all involved in sports. And so now, as a grandpa, I get to go and watch my grandkids, participate in these sports, and it's truly something special.
Oh yeah, I bet. I really do. Sounds wonderful. So, what do you do now since you're retired? Like, what's your hobbies outside of being a starter?
Well, I tell you what, I've always loved hunting and fishing, and so I do a ton of that. I want to tell you what, retirement is great. It really is. But we start track in a couple weeks. I'll start that, and basically from March until May, I have track meets just about every day. But then when I'm not doing that, I love to hunt and fish. I bought a place up in the Iowa border, 120 acres, and it's great hunting up there. But it's also a lot of work.
Yes.
So we spend a lot of time up there. I'm very involved in my church. So, between grandkids, church, my starter, cross-country things and track, and it keeps me really busy.
Yeah. So you mentioned hunting and fishing. Any nice, fun stories you'd like to share there?
Well, we went to when I was coaching football as a head coach my first year in 2003. Mm-hmm. And we went to the semifinals. Had the semifinal game here. Awesome game. Ended up getting beat, but it was one of the most awesome experiences that I ever had. Between But that was my first time that I'd ever seen teams tailgate. We played St. Genevieve, and they came down here. Well, that morning I went out to Coach Siemens, which you've had, went out to his place and shot probably the biggest buck that I'd ever killed at that time.
Yeah.
And Coach took care of it for me, and so I was really ecstatic about that. Came back here, come over the hill over here, and all you see is smoke. All these people from St. Gen had come, and they were all tailgating before the game. And we ended up, I think, with close to 10 or 11,000 people here at the stadium that day. It was just unbelievable. And anyway, so I come over the hill, and I'm like, what are these people doing? Because I had never seen people tailgate at a high school football game. So anyway, we got here early, and so I'm walking around among the St. Gen people. They're giving me food. We're talking. Had a great time. Game ended up. I think we ended up getting beat by 7, but it was a very competitive game, and just the crowd. It was just unbelievable. So along with not only me killing my biggest buck that day, but then the experience that I had with the football game. That's one of the days I'll never forget.
Oh, yeah, that all just kind of ties it together.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
Well, to close out, what advice would you have for a OHS student graduating and going to the next chapter of life?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, I just think that when you're in high school, you need to experience all of high school. I know back that whenever I was coaching, almost all of our kids, athletes, almost all of them did 3 sports. There was not 1 sport or 2 sports. Almost all of them did the 3 sports, which if you're going to be successful as a school, you've got to have your kids doing multiple sports. And so I would say that, if you're in high school, do more than just 1 sport. Do as many sports as you feel that you can, because there's going to, a lot of kids, they don't want to do more than 1 sport because they want to work or they want to do things like that. I want to tell you what, once you get out of school, you're going to work.
Yeah.
There's going to be plenty of time for that. I just think that high school is a very special time, especially for athletes, because you get to play with people that you have been friends with all of your life in front of people that truly love you. When you go to college, it's a little different story.
Yeah.
But, enjoy your high school, life, and then once you get out, find something that you're passionate about, and then go for it. And that's kind of what I did with my coaching. I never was a very good student, and I never would have thought in 1,000 years that I would ever teach. That just was something that was not on my radar.
Yeah.
But because of my passion for sports, I ended up having the greatest job that I could ever have for 25 years. There was not one day that I ever thought, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go teach today. I don't want to go coach today. It was just awesome. It really was. And I just want everybody to experience that, because whenever you get into a profession, you're probably going to be in it for 25 or 30 years, and to hate what you're doing, I just can't even imagine that. So find what you're passionate about. Find something that you love to do, and then go do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Yep.